This is set number 7092, Skeletons Prison Carriage. This set includes 5 minifigures and 4 horses, 193 pieces, and was originally part of the castle theme in 2007. This originally retailed for $20, and for $20 this is a reasonable price for the set considering the size of it, the large amount of figures, and it's a little low on the price per piece. We could have had a little bit additional, but I still think at the time frame this was an okay set to get for that price. So let's take a look at some of the smaller stuff first. We're going to start off with the horse. And this is the only actual living horse because the rest of them are skeletons. This is a nice set to get a horse in. You don't get too many of them in the castle wave. At least modern days. And there's a look on his face. More of a black harness on top of him. You do get a few extra bricks so that you can take off the saddle and make it into a regular stable horse. Now looking at the saddle, we have our knight on here. It's a nice gray armor. We get a silver sword on the side, so it's positioned while he's riding. And here is our knight, the first knight that we have in the set. Kind of like an upper soldier. We get the nice oval shield on him, because that's probably a good weapon for higher soldiers. You get the long spear so they can pursue and attack the prison carriage. And here's a look at his face, a very typical face at this time. We also get the regular helmet and no printing on the torso, so I don't need to take that off. We get some nice silver armor on him as well. We'll put him back on the horse, and we'll take a look at the rest of the model being the prison carriage. Now, the one thing that's interesting about the prison carriage is it's kind of built in a couple of different pieces. If you wanted to, you could segment this in a couple different ways. For example, you could take this horse part off, which, by the way, we'll get to first. This is your harnesses. It has horses attached to it. You have a ball joint, so that you can move the horses and the carriage will move with it. It does have a little bit of dust on it, I do apologize. But it's been built ready for reviewing since the day I got it. We have 3 skeleton horses on the front, similar to the Harry Potter series, and many of these show up in the castle theme in 2007. We also get the same spears in the front, so that if it is in pursuit or pursuing someone, it will have that to batter them. And it's also the same ones we get with the soldiers that we showed before. We also get these large rod pieces in between, so I do like that for the nice style and very formidable for the front of the carriage. Like I said, we can move this around different ways. We can have a nice rolling effect. In the center part of the carriage, we'll first get on to a little bit more towards the back. We have the main area that the horses are being driven by. This is our black skeleton. Kind of the more hierarchy in skeletons for this wave. He's just a black printed version of the regular white skeletons with some gray printing on his face and no back printing. Some of them do have armor, but this one does not. Sometimes they do, but mostly no. He carries just a large sword and the whip so that he can guide and steer the horse and carriage. We also get this nice spine effect, which is from the Bionicle 2006 wave with the barricade. This is nice to get in a silver piece and creates a good creepy effect for the front of the carriage. Like I said before, this can pop off, but you will have to take off the chains so that it would come, of course, completely off from the carriage itself. Got these large wagon wheels in the center, and they got some nice silver pieces, and we don't think we see them in those colors very often. It is symmetrical on both sides. Here's a look from the back of it, so you do have a little bit of room there. And here is the tower. That's right, you can take it right off of the main build. So I'll show you the more inside part, so you can see it's just held in by this 2x4, and has enough space around it to fit. You can probably tilt this both ways on the model, depending on where you want the gate to come out. You have a lot of these spine pieces along the sides, so great if you need tooth pieces in a set. Let's take a look at just the tower. This is where a lot of our other minifigures are in the set. Now, the object of the set is this small soldier in here. He's got the scared face on. He does have an interchangeable face. And, of course, he's being captured, so he's locked up in here and taken away on the prison carriage. We got these really nice details. I like how it has the kind of a bony effect around the sides, and also has lots of great window and fence pieces to use for a prison. We also get the large pieces on top. So in the top section, you can see we have two battlements that are made, and they're in black. I thought that was kind of interesting because we don't normally see them in that color, but it's nice to get in this smaller set. In fact, by itself, this could be a nice small tower. We also got these tooth pieces on the side, make it a little bit more, you know, scary looking for the skeletons. And we get two skeletons in this set with the white coloring and the same armor. They just have two different weapons, or actually like 3 or 4 different weapons. This one having 2 swords, and you could place them anywhere inside of here. I just chose to put them on both sides. And this one you can see has a shield and a mace. Then one side has these 2 candles. I think that's supposed to be the side in the instructions where you're supposed to put this. But they also show on the box itself, this opening gate can be on the back. So it doesn't really matter which way. It fits both ways on here. You might have a few issues as far as these tooth pieces. If you have them too close though, it will fall off when you're trying to put the tower back on. But I don't mind it too much. It's just something that happens only a couple times, and it's still easy to remove. And these candles they stay on pretty well, but sometimes they fall off too. It's, again, if there are anything, any sort of features on here that do fall off, they're really not a big deal. Because they're easy to remove and, you know, put back on, and they don't get too much in the way of the actual play of the set. So overall, I think this is kind of a nice set. For $20, you get this large chariot, which works good as, you know, a base, you know, not really a base, but as a vehicle model, good size to it. And it also works as kind of a small base. You know, you have that tower section in the middle. You could add that on to other castles. Lots of great minifigures in this one, so it's easy to build up an army for both sides, both for the skeletons and for the knights, using the set. Probably one of the smallest sets to include a knight like this in, you know, this variation. So I do give credit for that. And also one of the smallest to include a black knight, or black skeleton, should I say. It's also nice to get all of these horses with the set, as well as the actual horse, so that you can, again, build up an army. It's definitely a good model on its own for, not even just for skeleton armies, but also for other armies. You could easily take out these skeleton horses and use them elsewhere, or you could put in a whole bunch of these horses. You know, you could. So it's an easy model that you can customize just a couple of features and make it worthwhile for other types of armies. Whether you want to have, you know, dragon knights or some other villains piloting this vehicle, it's very easy to change, and you can still keep a lot of the essential details. I also like the color scheme with it, and even though it's mostly black and gray, it also has some good hints of dark red, which make it a little bit, you know, breaks out the color and also adds to its, you know, dark look on it. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time with more LEGO set reviews.